at the arrival site of the Van Ares 3, Acidalia Planitia Mars, at an at once not so distant future, the team of the Hermes, including Commander Melissa Lewis, botanist Mark Watney, IT Master Beth Johansson, pilot Rick Martinez, flight specialist Chris Beck, and guide and scientist Alex Vogel, are gathering tests before re-emerging their living office, the HAB. The group discovers that a tempest is drawing closer. The tempest's force and high breezes lead Commander Lewis to arrange a mission cutoff. Watney contends for enduring it and raises the back as the group makes a beeline for the MAV, Mars Ascent Vehicle, the boat that will return them to the circling Hermes, in their suits. Weighty breezes and sandblasts encompass them. A satellite dish serves and strikes Watney, taking him away from the remainder of the team. Lewis attempts to direct the others to track down Watney, yet permeability is extremely poor and the tempest is excessively solid for them. They head once again into the MAV without Watney and take off. The pilot, Martinez, is scarcely ready to hold the rocket back from overturning, however the send-off from the planet is fruitful. Back on Earth, NASA Director Teddy Sanders holds a public interview to report that while the Hermes team prevailed with regards to leaving Mars, Mark Watney was lost, and he is proclaimed dead. Watney awakens on Mars on what is Sol 21, Mission Day 21, after the tempest has passed. His oxygen is draining quickly, so he advances back to the territory station. He's been pierced by part of a radio wire, which actually projects from his midsection. The blend of the receiving wire and his own blood fixed the suit barely to the point of keeping a large portion of his air from spilling out. In a difficult strategy, Watney hauls the receiving wire out, utilizes forceps to fish out a piece that severed in the injury, then, at that point, staples the injury shut. He plunks down to make a video log, where he diagrams the circumstance. He's alive, yet he can't contact Earth or Hermes. It'll be 4 years before the following monitored mission is sent off. And with the food supply and the natural surroundings implied for himself and the other 5 group individuals, he has just about a year of food, or somewhat longer if he proportions. Hence, Watney confirms that he needs to grow 3 years of food on a planet where nothing develops. Fortunately for him, he's a botanist and devises an arrangement to develop potatoes. At NASA in Houston, Texas, Sanders has recently gotten back from a remembrance administration for Mark Watney, where he talked with regards to Watney's commitment to the investigation. Mars mission director Vincent Kapoor converses with Sanders about getting a satellite opportunity to find Watney's body. Sanders denies because the satellite feeds are public and broadcasting photos of Watney's carcass would be a political and monetary fiasco for NASA. Afterward, engineer Mindy Park meets with Kapoor after she finds proof of action in satellite photographs of the Ares 3 site, low gold pictures obviously taken in a normal flyby. The sun-powered chargers have been cleaned and the Meanderer has moved. They acquire Sanders and Director of Media Relations Annie Montrose to show them that Watney is as yet alive. A couple of sols after the fact, inside the living space, Watney has established potatoes utilizing Martian soil and vacuum-fixed parcels of the team's defecation as compost, to his disdain. Requiring more water for the potato crop, he consumes hydrazine rocket fuel. A result of the response is water. On his first endeavor to light the hydrazine, he causes a moderate blast, burning his dress and hair. Watney takes note that this touchy propensity is the explanation that NASA doesn't utilize unadulterated hydrogen. As he keeps on chipping away at his food supply, he continues onward with the video logs and chooses to utilize a wanderer to come to the Schiaparelli hole that will be the arrival site for Ares 4 in 4 years. Since the battery-controlled Meanderer can't cover the entire distance, he adjusts it, adding sunlight-based cells and an additional battery. To monitor battery power, the case of plutonium used to get the team to Mars in their unique space apparatus fills in as a hotness source in the lodge. Watney utilizes the Wanderer to observe a Pathfinder test that quit communicating in 1997. He desires to utilize it to reach out to NASA. He uncovers the old test from underneath the sand, spreads its sun-powered chargers to charge the batteries, and finds that it actually works. Utilizing written by hand finishes paperwork for the Pathfinder's camera, he can make an impression on NASA affirming that he is alive. Kapoor can get the message since he and associates at the Jet Propulsion Lab, JPL, who fabricated the Pathfinders, have hauled one more Pathfinder out of capacity, gathered together the specialists who chipped away at it and made it work once more. They figure out how to speak with Watney, first by panning the Mars Pathfinder's camera to point at yes or no signs when Watney inquires as to whether his sign is being gotten, and afterward by panning around a hexadecimal clock that Watney has fixed on the ground around his Pathfinder. NASA utilizes this framework to let him know how to hack the Meanderer's working framework so it can send a message back to Earth. At the point when Watney, at last ready to type his messages talk style, asks how the Hermes group took the news that he wasn't dead, Kapoor remorsefully lets him know that the team hasn't been told. Watney reacts with vulgarities, which are communicated from one side of the planet to the other. Watney's story turns into an overall sensation. His interchanges with NASA are logged, and in line with PR director Annie Montrose, he utilizes the Pathfinder's camera to take a spacesuited selfie, in a 2-thumbs-up Fonzie present, which Montrose doesn't like since she can't see his face. Kapoor advises her that Mark can't eliminate his protective cap close to the camera, which is outside the hab. In the meantime, the group on board Hermes has spent the most recent few months discreetly flying back toward Earth while staying in contact with their friends and family. The flight head of Ares 3, Mitch Henderson, contacts the team and illuminates them that Watney is alive and that NASA has saved it from them throughout the previous 2 months to not divert them from their central goal. The news just drives them crazy and culpability-ridden, yet Henderson lets them know that Watney has focused on over and again that it wasn't their shortcoming and they had the motivation to accept that he was dead. The people at NASA confirm that they can arrive at Watney by Sol 868. The food he's becoming in addition to the proportions in the hab will run out in a piece north of 900 days. Sanders worries that the room for mistakes is excessively little. Back on Mars, things start to turn sour for Watney when the natural surroundings exhausted sealed area dangerously depressurizes, tossing the airtight chamber a few distances while he's inside it and making his protective cap break and hole. He utilizes conduit tape to seal the breaks and staggers back to the natural surroundings to find his potato crop frozen and dead. With less food, he currently figures he can endure just somewhat more than 300 sols, or somewhat longer assuming the proportions. NASA and JPL stay at work longer than required and right away send off a test to resupply Watney. To make their send-off window they sidestep routine reviews, and minutes after sending off, the test's direction moves harshly and it steers off kilter and detonates. In the meantime in China, 2 chiefs from the Chinese National Space Administration, Zhu Tao and Guo Ming witness the blast and examine assisting NASA by offering their arranged supporter with soaring innovation to send off a stock art. Guo Ming asks Zhu Tao for what good reason NASA has not currently requested their assistance and Zhu Tao advises him that it is a highly classified program that NASA would not have any information on. They conclude that in light of a legitimate concern for worldwide logical coactivity, they will contact NASA and deal with their sponsor rocket. Rich Purnell, an unconventional and distracted yet splendid astrodynamics, devises an arrangement to speed up the returning Hermes around Earth, acquiring a gravitational lift and sending it back to Mars to get Watney. The Chinese rocket will resupply the Hermes for its long journey. Sanders blackballs this arrangement since it hazards the existences of the 5 Hermes team individuals and will broaden their central goal by many days, yet Henderson covertly sends the arrangement and Purnell's course computations to the group. The group talks it over. They comprehend that the clandestine appearance of the arrangement implies that NASA Metal has dismissed the thought. They expect to be that assuming they return to Mars, the 2 military individuals, Lewis and Martinez, will be court-martialed for revolt and the 3 regular people won't ever be permitted to fly another mission. Lewis requires a consistent vote and they all consent to return for Watney. Johansson hacks the Hermes PCs to keep NASA from taking control and they shift direction, sending an obscure message to Houston. Rich Purnell is a steely looked at Rocket Man. Sanders is irate with Henderson, who he expects sent the arrangement to Hermes. Henderson doesn't deny, however, won't affirm his activities all things considered. Sanders clarifies that his need is for NASA to continue to fly, however, Congress is exceptionally touchy to popular assessment, and the terrible exposure that would result assuming Purnell's arrangement fizzled would probably decrease NASA's spending plan for quite a long time into the future. He requests Henderson's renunciation when the mission is finished. Then, at that point, he's compelled to declare that NASA is sending Hermes back to Mars to save Watney. 7 months pass on Mars. Watney has lost a ton of weight, has grown a great deal of beard growth, and his teeth are spoiling. He's begun losing trust in his endurance and salvage. He records a video log requesting that Commander Lewis let his folks know of his destiny. NASA sends him directions to make broad adjustments to the Meanderer, which Watney bemusedly performs. He gets together the Wanderer and leaves the Ares 3 site, having burned through 461 souls there, and heads for the Ares 4 MOV, which was dropped on Mars well in front of the Ares 4 mission. It's a 3,200-kilometer drive across a trackless and unfriendly Martian scene. He shuts down each day for 13 hours to rest and yet again accuses the Meanderer's batteries of sun-powered chargers. During his trip, he reasons that Mars is legitimately global waters, that is, it's dependent upon oceanic law since it can't be guaranteed by any country on Earth. As he has not gotten express consent from NASA to take the MOV, and can't get authorization until after taking off, securing the MOV will make him a space privateer. He might want to be designated Commander Blondebeard. Mark likewise pontificates regarding how he's the primary individual to see the Martian scene that he makes a trip across and is by all accounts very in amazement of it. After the Hermes has swung around to Earth and gathered the provisions, they make a trip back to Mars. NASA and the remainder of the world watch with expectation. With 12 minutes postponement, nobody on Earth can help by radio. Watney needs to eliminate 5,000 kilograms of weight from the MOV to make it light to the point of arriving at Hermes Circle. He casts off the greater part of the seats, all the route and control frameworks, and replaces the nose cone sealed area, a significant primary piece, and the single heaviest part, with a canvas. Martinez, flying the MOV by the controller, dispatches Watney into space. The MOV comes up too low to even think about arriving at the Hermes spaceship. Vogel builds a rapidly made sugar and oxygen touchy to blow the front trapdoor and cause getting away from air to dial the enormous boat back so they can match velocities and still get to Watney. Lewis herself chooses to utilize the EVA MMA suit with a tie to arrive at Watney, however, she can't draw adequately near enough. Watney penetrates the palm of his glove to push himself toward Lewis, the getting away from airfly. Like Iron Man. He says joyously, he has next to no control, so he misses her. Notwithstanding, he runs into the tie, which his energy causes to twist around himself and Lewis, and the team can bring them in. Lewis declares to NASA that they have Watney, and individuals all around the world cheer. Packs have accumulated in Houston, Times Square, Beijing, and somewhere else, restlessly standing by to hear whether the salvage worked. The group embraces Watney and jokes about the odor coming about because of his absence of showering for a long time. Back on Earth around 1 year after the fact, Watney starts day one as an educator hoping for space travelers. He tells them of his battle on Mars, affirming that he did, truth be told, develop food utilizing his own fertilizer, and hilariously says he would rather not talk about that part of the mission once more. He lets them know that assuming things should go south for them, they can either acknowledge their destiny or begin taking care of issues, since that is how you get by beating an endless series of issues. During the end credits, we see the characters years after the fact as they watch the send-off of Ares V, in which Martinez is the officer. Kapoor, Montrose, Park, and Sanders watch from NASA alongside Guoming and Ju Tao. Henderson is resigned and hitting the fairway with his child. Lewis watches at home with her better half, while Vogel is at home with his family. Beck and Johansson have gotten hitched and watched from the emergency clinic with their new child. To watch more video like this, click on the videos on your screen, and don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last I will say, stay safe and stay healthy. See you next videos.